Hello, this is Caitlin Rule with the case study for EDL 853. So, to summarize the case, what's happened and what is happening? A high school that resulted in using a wheelchair. When he returned to school, his schedule was changed due to the classroom not being wheelchair accessible. The parents of the child, along with their attorney, are upset at the school about this situation. When and where did these events occur? Nottingham High School. And who is involved? Well, we have the principal, Miguel Hernandez, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, his parents, Miss Gusman, the one who changed his schedule, and Howard Carey, his attorney. Has anyone been harmed by the decision of another? Well, yes. Miguel feels discriminated against due to his schedule being changed because of his wheelchair. Does the situation contravene an existing law? Yes, both Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and the Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1990. School districts cannot discriminate against people with disabilities in any of the services. So, just like his biology class he's trying to attend. Were the actions discriminatory? Yes. Miguel's parents stated that he would be able to participate regularly in school only with the exception of using a wheelchair. So, with him unable to go to this just because of his wheelchair, the actions were discriminatory. So to synthesize what happened in one sentence, a student at Nottingham High School was injured at a football game and upon return was denied a biology class because the classroom was not wheelchair accessible. To synthesize the facts, the people involved are the principal, Miguel Hernandez, Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez, Miss Gusman, and Howard Carey. The place is Nottingham High School, which is the central hub of activity in Dover. It also has relocatable trailers to provide classroom space because this high school is so big. And it's also very old and hasn't had a lot of updates in a really long time. So the program, though, is known for their football team. The community always gets together every Friday night to go cheer on their football team. This school houses about 3,200 students and is a part of a big district of 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. Could this situation be damaging to the state? Yes, the situation could be damaging to Miguel and his services because the school needs to provide him these classes for his college credit hours. What individuals and groups have an important stake in the outcome? Miguel and the school. Have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? I do very supportive and involved with every school that is a part of his district. Can I learn more about the situation? Yes. I need to know, did Ms. Gusman discuss the schedule decision? Did the school try and accommodate for Miguel before he arrived, but maybe didn't have the funds? I do think I know enough to make a decision, but I do think there could be more information I could find out. Options of how we could handle this situation. Option 1 would be no action. Don't make any decisions or take any actions. Some consequences that could come from that are a lawsuit and hurt community support. Option 2 could be request funds. You could request funds from the district and the community to install wheelchair accessible ramps. Some consequences could be there is no money, and maybe the community doesn't want to fundraise. This could also take time to earn the money for these ramps and get the ramps installed. Option 3, we could move the class. So we could make the teacher move their classroom to an area where Miguel can access it. This could leave a consequence of creating stress on the staff, and it could also take time to switch the classrooms and let all the students know where the new class is and find a classroom that is willing to switch. This could also make it so it could happen again with Miguel when he needs another class that isn't wheelchair accessible, or even in the future when another student that uses a wheelchair can't access these classrooms. So some pros and cons that go with these options. Option 1, pros could be you don't have to use any funds, but a con would be you would end up in a lawsuit, so you would end up using money for that. Option 2, some pros would be that you could create an accessible environment for not only Miguel but for future students. Some cons would be that it might take time to earn the funds or to install these ramps. Option 3, some pros would be moving the teacher in their class would give more time to make these physical changes on the school. But some cons would be it would create some stress on the staff to be the year, and might create confusion for other students to know where their new class might be located, and just take some time for them to get back into that new routine. Option would be option 2, to request funds. So the scenario stated that the community is very supportive of their schools, especially the football team. So with the community knowing the situation that happened, they could donate money towards installing wheelchair accessible ramps. The superintendent is also very supportive of the schools and maybe could help find funds somewhere in the system to help support these ramps. The fundraiser really should have begun once Miguel's parents informed the school he would be using a wheelchair, so it's unknown if the counselor didn't share this information with the principal or they didn't even think about the accommodation before he arrived. So the path to implement my decision. I would apologize to Miguel and his parents for the situation. Also discuss with Ms. Gusman about changing schedules and how when these situations occur and arise that she needs to discuss it with the principal. Then I would provide the class in an alternative setting and propose funding options. So we could try having him work online with the teacher, maybe have a recording of the teacher or just someone videotaping him so that he can still get the class until these ramps are installed. Propose funding options to Miguel's parents and the attorney, and then request funds for wheelchair accessible ramps from the district and the community, and install ramps as quickly as possible. What may happen? Miguel's parents could agree to the alternative setting and the district and community provide funds and the ramps are installed. Or Miguel's parents could deny the alternative setting and take the school to court. Who needs to know? Well, the superintendent needs to know what's going on. Miguel and his parents, Miss Gussman, the biology teacher, and really the whole community for all the situation that's going on. So Miss Gussman needs to be informed of the situation and what outcomes could be possible due to this happening. I will need to be very clear with her in order for this not to happen again. And if this option does not work out, then we'll have to move to option 3 of moving the teacher and their class to an accessible area until we can install those ramps for future use and for Miguel.